Hi guys, Luke here of SimBoxx in association with Clint Patrick. Today I'm delighted to be joined by the current British and Commonwealth welterweight champion, Chris Jenkins. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thanks for joining me tonight. Really keen to get this interview underway with yourself, given that 2020 was such a barren spell. You had the busy 2019, but we're back. We've got the fight date for yourself, March 27th. You're defending your titles against the undefeated Ekow Essuman, former English and IBF European welterweight champion himself. First and foremost, how excited are you to get back into the ring, and also your reaction to Ekow Essuman as an opponent?
I'm just pleased to finally have a date. There's been, by the time I get in, it'll be 14 months. Don't get me wrong, I've been in the gym, I've been grafting, working on my weaknesses. Obviously, having to take time out of the gym then, due to work commitments, due to losing sponsors because it's COVID. But, looking at it now, I've been back in now for close to 6 to 8 weeks back in. I'm already in good nick. I've got a few medicals to get done now. And the hard sparring is going to start as soon as I get the brain scan done on Friday.
Fantastic. So just take us through there. You mentioned that during COVID you lost sponsors, and this is like the less glamorous side of boxing that people don't really see. And you've had to go back to grafting and earning a crust away from boxing. Take us through how that affects your mentality when you're trying to stay focused. You're the current British welterweight champion, but you're having to be 9 to 5 at the same time. Just take us through that thought process.
Well, I had a local sponsor up with me, and obviously their company wasn't going under, but they were laying off people. So it wouldn't have been fair for them to keep helping me out with sponsorship as well as laying off people who've got families as well. So they let me know. So I do a bit of everything really, but commercial cleaning I was doing then, and a bit of painting and decorating. It is hard because I train up in Cardiff, so I live like an hour and 10-minute drive each way. So for me to go up there, train, then get a full shift in work, I'm self-employed as well. So I got good 4 hours in work, and then I'm the training at night then. I'm just going to burn myself out. So it was one of them things I had to really pick, keep training and just surviving, or going to work and getting money. And at the end of the day, I got a family. I got 3 boys now. They're only young as well, 8-year-old twins, and I got a 2-year-old as well. So, sometimes you just got to get on with it. But luckily, when his fight's been announced, I've had a good few sponsors come on board now to take the pressure off me. For 8 to 10 weeks in camp. I got a local chippy, believe it or not, Charles Chippy. They've come on board. A cleaning company called Fairy Tale Cleaner, I think it is. They've come on. A good friend of mine, Greg Pickin, 100% old school, sponsored me. They like DJs and stuff, funky house music. Who else come on board? Off-roaders. They had a guy who sells motorbikes, so scramblers, and probably forgot 1 or 2, but the impact of them now just helped me out with a couple of quid. Takes the big ball ache, as you may say, of making sure everything's paid in the house, as well as covering for basically your camp.
Yeah, absolutely. You say that, you got your young family. Have you managed to avoid much of the homeschooling? How's that been? Are you getting your teacher gown out?
Mate, no. I know, people will look at this and go, they're your children. End of the day, schoolwork's done in school. When they're home or a family, they can do what they want. Granted, it could probably be because I haven't got the patience for it. But, they have been doing their work. Don't get me wrong. I want them to have a good education and not get punched in the head for living like their father's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see, like you say, you're providing for your family so they don't have to go through the hardships you're going through. But the fight date is penciled in. I think it's really interesting from Frank Warren that he's putting on 2 shows on the 26th and the 27th of March, some really good fights. As I say, Ekow Essuman, undefeated. Do you know very much about him? Are you gonna leave that to Gary to kind of research him as an opponent?
All I know, he's undefeated. You know, he comes across as a nice guy, but he dropped in my DMs and he's a bit full of himself. And, you know, he is who he is. At the end of the day, he's a mandatory. And it's someone I got to take care of. I know he boxes. I watched his last fight, if I remember so, how he was going to knock this guy out who was a former opponent of Conor Benn.
Yeah, Cedric Payne.
He won the fight, don't get me wrong, but nothing really stood out. But I am going to be working my ass off in the gym, making sure no corners are cut, and I'm ready for the best Ekow Essuman out there.
Fantastic. And did you say it's 14, maybe 15 months since the Liam Taylor fight and getting this next fight in March? Is there any worry that, you know, you built up quite a lot of momentum, Chris? You had the victories over with a draw with Liam Taylor. You picked up the titles, beating Paddy Gallagher, and you had a couple of other wins in 2019. Was there a worry that you've lost that kind of momentum that was built up there because of COVID and because 2020 you didn't have any fights? Is there any worry that momentum has fell off, or is it just a matter of that's added to the fuel to the fire to make sure that when you do get back in the ring, it's going to be the very best Chris Jenkins on show?
You're gonna see the best me. You know, going off my last performance, I boxed at the shite. You know, there's no you know, looking at it thinking, oh, it's an off night. I boxed crap, simple as you know, we had issues in camp. I actually deviated my septum, broke my nose in sparring about 3 weeks before. And I had a tough out then. And also, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I still came away. Yes, I might have been down on the scorecards, but I knew for a fact I was coming into that fight. You know, so I'm just looking forward to it. You know, there's no doubts in my mind that I'm going to defend this belt.
Fantastic. Another issue that I wanted to raise with you, and I'm trying to keep this in some sort of chronological order because there is, you know, it's been a while since we spoke. 2020, as we say, you didn't actually get a fight, but there was the much rumoured fight with Conor Benn. It never came to fruition. I think it was your British mandatory challenger, if I'm right in saying that. That fight never came. Can you give us a bit of an update on why that fight simply didn't happen?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I know he was my mandatory, and that's all I know is that Eddie Hearn pulled out the purse bids. I think it was 2 days before, or 3 days before the purse bids were meant to be in. I know Frank was going to bid for me to fight him on Frank's show because I'm a Warren fighter. And I think that Eddie Hearn's balls went, really. And he thought, you know what? I'm not going to bother. I'll get him fighting somebody on my card and make him look good. So that's what happened, really. Obviously, I wasn't happy, but it's life.
You know, with all due respect, and I mean this with full respect, the fact that he went on and fought somebody like Sebastian Formella, and, you know, they sold the death of it of being a former Sean Porter opponent. And, you know, Conor Benn, he looked very well against Formella. He boxed very well and he got the victory. But you're British champion, you're Commonwealth champion. Do you feel, like I say, with all due respect, that you've been overlooked here, that you're kind of being pushed out? You've not had a fight since 2019, and in the meantime, you've got Conor Benn looking very good. You've got Josh Kelly and David Avanesyan making all the headlines for the European title. And as I say, you're holding two straps. You know, you're British and the Commonwealth title. Is there any worry that you're being overlooked or maybe disrespected, in your opinion?
If I am, you know, it is what it is. Maybe, you know, the good old saying, he's Welsh, you know what I mean? It might be where I'm from. We don't know. Well, I might have been known for too long. People thinking, oh, he's been on for years. But like you said, I'm holding two of the belts. And if they want to go for it, happy days. But maybe, with all due respect to Josh Kelly's up there, he's European up there, isn't he? You know, Avanesyan's up there, he's the champion. So, you know, but Ben was talking about the British, then all of a sudden then he starts calling out Josh Kelly. So I don't think he knows what he's doing. But, you know, I wish him all the best for the three of them, you know.
Superb. You know, let's touch on that fight coming up this weekend. We've got Evan Avanesyan defending the European title against Josh Kelly. Where do you sit with that fight? Who do you make as the favourite? You know, it's been that fight that's, of course, been scheduled and rescheduled and postponed and everything, and it's finally looks like it's going to happen this Saturday. Who are you picking for that fight, if I was to put you on the spot, Chris?
To be honest with you, mate, I don't know. And that's my honest opinion. last time I seen Josh Kelly was when he's a few fights in, and he's, you know, he looks slick, he's flash, he's moving, he's got everything of me. And then you got Avanesyan then, who's just come forward and he can whack with both hands. But from what I could see, I just think it's a great fight for British boxing fans. And now they're getting it on, I think it's Saturday, and I will be watching.
When you say there you will be watching, do you look at that with like the possibility that the winner could be a future opponent, given that, like I say, you're the British Commonwealth champion, the winner of that fight will be European champion? It will make a lot of sense further down the line for it to kind of like you to fight the winner of that fight, maybe.
With myself, I've always been taught, and I say to my kids as well, don't run before you can walk.
Nice.
You know, my main objective now is making sure I'm in the best nick to fight my mandatory challenger. You know, and after that, then we can look to see what's going to happen. But all my sole focus is on Ekow Essuman, and that's all I am working towards.
Yeah, superb. And we look at British welterweights at the minute, and as we say, you're British champion, and you've got the likes of Amir Khan and Kell Brook, who have been and won world titles, and they've lost those, and they've had some heavy defeats, but they're still there or thereabouts. You've got yourself, Conor Benn, Josh Kelly, and then you've got foreign welterweights, the likes of David Avanesyan or Florian Marku, but they're based in the UK. It's really like a booming time for the welterweight division. Of course, you've got the very top with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, but just in the UK with UK-based welterweights, it's a very exciting time. And if, you know, maybe promoters and TV stations can come together and work something out, there's the potential for some great fights. As you say, you're not overlooking Essuman, but all being good and well and you get the victory, there is some potential for almost like a round robin. You could almost have like a golden contract or a World Boxing Super Series of just British welterweights or British-based welterweights, certainly.
That'd be something crazy, wouldn't it, to be part of that? You know, you forgot him as well. Michael Mickelson, he's a good fella as well.
And Chris Congo as well. Them two are fighting on March 6th, so there's another two good names, yeah.
And there's loads out there. You know, personally, I think Amir Khan needs to get it on with Kell Brook, and then one retires, and then the other one fights the other one, whatever. But there are boys coming through. You know, they're the old boys in the game now. You know, they're a credit to the sport for what they've achieved. But, you know, it is like you said, there's the new boys coming through now. You've probably got your Taylor, you've got your Avanesyan, you've got Josh Kelly now up there, you've got Ben, who thinks he's above them. Then you've got myself, and, you know, so, yeah, the welterweight division in the UK alone is up there. And then when you look worldwide, this is probably the best division out there, in my opinion. Probably because I am a welterweight, but...
Certainly, you know what, it's something that I should have pressed on a little earlier in our conversation, but you mentioned there that Ben thinks he's above Josh Kelly or yourself or whatever. And you've probably been asked this before, but is that disrespectful to you? Do you take that personally, or is it just water off a duck's back? You came so close to fighting and the fight didn't materialise, and now he feels like he's surpassed British title level. And I don't want to put words into your mouth, but
no,
you find that disrespectful?
No, all mate. You know, there's no skin off my nose. You know, it's the 21st century, and then people can have opinions. You know, and you know the old saying, opinions are like assholes, and everyone's got one. So he can say what he wants. They can say what they want. You know, it don't bother me one bit.
Yeah, it's probably the best way to be. So yeah, that's kind of like your situation, Box Off. I wanted to get your opinions on last week's return to British boxing. Josh Warrington sensationally knocked out by Mauricio Lara in round 9, the unheralded unknown Mexican. First and foremost, your instant reaction to that fight?
I don't think he looked himself going in round 1. He's usually full of energy, snappy and stuff. He just looked flat. And then, you know, tough old Mexican, no one's heard of him, thinking, oh, it's an easy win, but yeah, we'll move on. But knowing Josh Warrington, he trained hard for that, and something's not right, whether it was the being in isolation or being in the bubble, as they say, for them few days. Maybe made the weight wrong. Maybe the inactivity he've had. Nobody really knows, just himself. But, you know, hats off to that Mexican, he can bang.
Certainly, you mentioned a couple of things there that, Josh Warrington and yourself are in similar situations in the fact that you're both coming off long layoffs. You're both going in to the bubble for the first time. You're both going to box, with no fans for the first time. I guess you can look at that and kind of take things from it to aid your own game plan as you go to experience these things for the first time. Boxing with no fans and boxing or preparing within the fight week bubble. All these things are thrown in the air as reasons or maybe excuses or justifications for why Josh Warrington fought the way he did. But do you think you can learn from those kind of things and again add that to better prepare yourself to fight with no fans and everything that comes along with that?
With me, I'm not a big ticket seller. At the beginning of my career, I was. When I boxed Tyrone Nurse, I was good, but then people just fell off the old supporter bus, really. So I don't really sell tickets. So the fans, the crowds, that won't affect me one bit. As long as I get to speak to my wife if I go in the ring and see the kids on FaceTime. At the end of the day, I'm there to do a job. If I fight them in a closed circuit or whatever, fight them out this back garden, I got a job to do and that's to win. And with the weight making aspect and all that, Gary Lockett, since I joined him in 2015 after losing, the wealth of knowledge that he's put into me about weight making and, doing stupid things like not drinking water and stuff. We've got a system and it works, and I'm strong at doing the weight as well.
Superb. It's good to hear. Another thing that I wanted to get your opinion on, and it's reared its head again, is British boxing, border control, the judges, the refereeing performances at weekends. Zelfa Barrett against Kiko Martinez. There was a couple of wide scores in favour of Zelfa Barrett getting the win over Kiko, 118, 111 twice, has certainly caught the eye. Eddie Hearn was very vocal on TV straight after the fight. What's your thoughts on the whole situation? It's happening all too often now, and people are worrying that the UK is or will become tarnished like other countries, and away fighters aren't going to want to come over and perform here and box here and defend their titles and fight in the UK. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
I think I know. Obviously, you want to see a British fighter win, but I did think that Kiko Martinez done more than enough to win. He pressed the action and stuff. Probably lost the last 2-3 rounds. But out of the first 9, he probably won over half of them, no problem. But it is one of them things now. Like I boxed out in Belfast against Paul Sutcliffe Jr., the second fight I had in a Belfast fight there. And I thought I won the fight fair and square, and they give it against me by 4 or 5 rounds. And, come out the ring, and then Irish people saying that you won that, lad, you got robbed there, and it's one of them things, and I'm glad we're not part of, the judging team, whoever does the judging and all that. But I think it does need to be addressed because, like you said before we know it, there'll be no fighters willing to come to the UK to fight.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and it was something that I seen on social media recently, and I mentioned it on the SimBoxx podcast this week, that a couple of years back, before he beat Vasily Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, he was asked, would you come and fight in the UK, given that we've got the likes of Luke Campbell at 135 pounds, and he said, I'd come and box in the UK if you sort your judging situation out, or words to that effect. And this is now, a year down the line, and we've had this situation with Zelfa Barrett, Kiko Martinez. There was the Vasquez and Lewis Ritson last year, and it's the disparity in the judging scorecards. Especially with it being behind closed doors. I guess that's where the frustration is coming from. That you can't be influenced by a home crowd anymore. So, do you think judges or referees, when these decisions are being made, should be held accountable and they should be made to publicly explain maybe why they've come to the decision that they've come to? Where do you think that this could be sorted?
To be honest with you, they just need to ask him straight up, what did you see in the fight that made you lean that way? We're watching it on TV, we are. They're watching it dead ringside, so they get a different angle of view. But if I was going to fight a fella over here now, when I was from, say, different country, I would be questioning whether I'd go over there, because it's one of them things. it'll either make or break your career. And that's what's going to happen to some of these lads. It's going to make or break their career. And, say you get robbed the fight, but then you're only like 2 fights away from something big. Then you're going back to the drawing board again.
Yeah, certainly. I think you're right in what you're saying there. For instance, with Kiko Martinez and Zelfa Barrett, whichever way you've seen that fight, it was a very close fight. But from Kiko Martinez's point of view, he's 34, he's been to the top of the mountain, he's come back down and he's rebuilding. He might not be able to perform at that level again. I dare say, and I mentioned it again on the podcast, that Zelfa going into the rematch, he came in strong into the second half of that fight, and maybe that moment's been took away from Kiko. As you're saying, it's kind of ruining careers, and if these guys haven't got it in him to go back and rebuild, the moment's been took away from him.
Well, that's it. He'll go home now and he'll probably be a bit annoyed. Sit down with his team, and he might just say, look, you know what, I've done what I've done. Time to chill out with the family now, get fat and enjoy. But fair play to the opponent we boxed. Can't remember his name now.
Zelfa Barrett.
Zelfa Barrett, that's it. Yeah. Fair play to him. He wants the rematch. So, obviously he might have little doubts in his head. So it'd be nice for him to have the rematch. And then when Barrett wins, he'd be like, see, there we are, job done.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Well, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you today. Is there anything you'd like to add to finish?
No, just big shout out to all my new sponsors that come on board. I would list them all, but I can't. I've got about 17, 18 sponsors altogether now, really.
You can send them in. We'll put them in the description of the video so they're on YouTube, and you can give them all a shout out there, so then they'll get
there's loads. I got chip shops a lot, and that's the worst thing. I got a local chip in Charles, and they're sponsoring me. And I would love Irish curry sauce, chips, and fish, but I can't because I'm on a diet.
I'll tell you what, we'll put it in the description of the video, and next time I'm down in Wales, the chip is on you.
Oh, mate, I get free chips now, so you can have as much as you want.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Chris. You take care, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon, bud.
No worries, my man. Take care. Thanks again.